Welcome to another edition of Living Legacies. I'm Tom Morrow, your host, and I'd like to welcome you to the show. And we are talking with Bobbie Thill, longtime resident of Oceanside. In fact, she's a native-born Oceansider. Bobbie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Now, I won't ask you what year you were born. That wouldn't be, that's indelicate of me, but you are a lifelong resident of Oceanside.
Correct.
Now, how far back does your family go?
My grandfather came into Oceanside with his family, which included my dad, Ray Wilcox. And so I think they came in, I'm not, 1925.
Okay, so the Wilcox was your maiden name?
Correct.
Okay, I've got a picture of you here as a baby. Now, for those of you at home are wondering, we are going to do Jack, her husband. This should follow this particular show, but there's something interesting about this picture of you. You were telling me that the basket in which you're sitting and having this picture taken?
In Oceanside at that time, we had one photographer and one chair. And so Jack's picture was taken in that chair 9 months before mine was, our baby pictures. We didn't realize it until like about 5 years ago if it was the same chair.
This next picture is you and your grandfather, and his name was William Homer Wilcox?
Correct.
Now he came from Oklahoma?
Yes.
How old are you in this picture?
Well, probably, it could be maybe, I don't know, around 1 year old, I think, and he was in real estate, and you can see he's advertising avocados.
Avocados. I was going to say, was he a farmer too? Did he have a?
Oh, he loved gardening, but he primarily was.
He sold real estate.
Yes, he sold real estate, and he was a lifelong Democrat, and so he was on the central. I know he went to one of the big conventions in Chicago. Representing Oklahoma.
You remember which one it was?
I can't remember really.
Yeah.
And actually it was Oklahoma Indian Territory that when my dad was born in that area.
Yeah, well that would have been about 1912 was when Oklahoma came into a statehood, so it would have been before that.
Claimed he was partially Indian.
Well, this next picture is of you and your mom and dad and your sister. Your mom's name is Dora, and your dad is Ray. Now, your dad was mayor.
Yes, he was. He was mayor when I was a senior in high school, and it was. I can understand every mayor now. Their family life is slightly disrupted, and so it was interesting. I loved all the excitement about it.
How long was your dad on the city council?
For a couple of years. And then it interfered eventually with his real estate business. And so, but it was a great time. He was always proud of Oceanside.
Now, this is your sister,
Yes.
Mariana? Does she live here in Oceanside?
She lives in Redlands.
In Redlands? Okay. Well, tell me about school. Now, you grew up in Oceanside. You went to elementary school where?
Well, the high school and the elementary school, Oceanside High School, were side by side, actually. And we had a big bell that I got to ring when I was in the 7th grade at 8:30. That was the big treat of the whole elementary school, I think. But anyway, it was a grand time to grow up. And then when we were in high school, our senior class, it was Oceanside Carlsbad High School, and our senior class had 96 students in it.
What year did you graduate?
That was 1946.
You graduated in 46? Okay. And so you basically went to school all within the same block for all 12 years, or
yes.
13 years.
Yes, we did.
Do you have any jobs when you were going through school?
Yes.
What did you do?
I worked in a little sweet shop probably when I was early on in high school, and it was Sweetwood's shop, I believe it was, serving Cokes and ice cream cones. And then I worked at my uncle and aunt Bernice and Russell Gross's in Carlsbad doing the same thing. And I don't know, we just, it was like something you would see in an old-time movie. It was fun. Really enjoyed it.
Where was the sweet shop here in Oceanside?
It was right, actually, next to your theater where you're entertaining, Tom.
Oh, the Star?
It was in the block south of that.
Where the Civic Center is today.
Yes, it was.
The old Palomar Theater was there then.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we'll talk with your husband Jack later, but I understand that your two families live pretty close together. I mean,
we were lucky. Our mothers played bridge together, and our dads played golf together. And when we were married, it was really kind of funny because our whole town was so small. Everybody knew everybody else, and so when we walked out of the church, that we heard laughing behind us. We thought, what is it? And our two dads had their arms around each other, patting each other on the back, and we thought that was really kind of cute.
No, where did you live in Oceanside?
I lived several different places. One on Alberta Street, and Jack's family really lived across the street at that time. Then we settled on Horn Street, a half a block from school. And so then when we married, eventually went back to Alberta Street. And
so when did you discover Mr. Thill as a romantic interest?
I think when I was in kindergarten.
Oh, is that right?
Right.
Well, he said he used to ride your tricycle down to see his sister. Was that really why you were going down there?
Well, that was pretty cute, wasn't it? And my tricycle, my horse, and then my bicycle, and finally he figured out who I was.
When did you get married?
We got married in 1950.
Now, you went on to college after you got out of high school in '46. Where did you go to college?
The University of Redlands.
What did you study?
Actually, I was studying several different things, but when Jack came back from the service, I wondered if there was anything that was going to happen, hopefully marriage, and he said, well, if you can support me decently, and I said, well, I guess the best bet is going into education. So I became a teacher.
Yeah, it seemed like in those days, women in college were, if they couldn't land a husband with a lot of money, they went into teaching. So,
that's right. We made the first year $2,000 a year in Yucaipa. So
what year did you teach?
I was teaching right after school, 1950 to 51.
No, but I mean, what class did you?
Fourth grade. I was lucky enough to have the third grade of that same class in student teaching, and they did hire me to take that same class.
And your annual salary was
$2,000 a year.
$2,000 a year.
He was satisfied.
Well, now you taught a year of school in Oceanside.
Yes.
Now, what year was that you taught?
That was the year after we left Redlands, and I think it was 52. I think I taught at Mission Road School, and we had classrooms in Quonset huts at that time. And then I decided after we started having 5 children that I better stay home.
Well, I still run into people who remember you when you were teaching. Larry Hatter, for one, remembers when you taught him in one of the classes.
Yeah,
but,
it was really fun. He just now has quit calling me Mrs. Thill.
Well, I know that...
Tom, I mustn't pass up Gilbert Neris, the judge.
He was one of your
students.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So he would never forgive me if
can
I
you
didn't.
Can you think of any others that?
Well, those were the prizes.
Oh, they were okay. Well, if you were in Bobbie's class back there, it's probably because she just didn't remember you. One of the things that I think everybody in Oceanside that knows you knows that you've always been very active in civic affairs and charitable affairs, and one of the things that one of your early activities was working to help Jack in the Rotary Club in the days before they allowed women to as members. What you call it, Rotary Anns?
I know everybody makes fun of that name, but that's what we were called, Rotary Anns.
This next picture shows you, and who are these other ladies? In the
Margaret Radcliffe.
On the left?
Yes, and I think her last name was Bales. Her husband,
Jack,
ran the USO at that time.
And that's you on the right.
Correct.
And you were. What did you do with these books?
Well, we sold them and gave the money to the Rotary, like good wives.
This was what year was that? Would that have been?
Oh, I don't know, Tom.
It's well, it's starting to the paper's starting to yellow, so I would imagine it was probably sometime during the 50s or 60s.
Could be. Yes, it had to be after we were married.
Yeah. What? You had 5 kids, and where are they today?
We have a daughter who is living in Los Angeles, and she's running her own firm. It's called BioBarrier. She's an inventor.
Yeah, I wrote about her.
Right. Yeah, and things are coming together very nicely for her. So she'll be talking to Rotary soon. So anyway, and our oldest son Randy is in Vista, and he's an Edward Jones financial advisor. And we have a daughter Patty that worked at Scripps in the rehabilitation, Scripps Encinitas Rehabilitation Hospital, and then our son John used to be on KOCT's board of directors, and now he's working for a firm that's very interesting in Carlsbad, and I can't ever remember the name of it when I should.
John's the only one that I personally know.
Yeah. And then Robert, our youngest, is working at, he was at the Brooklyn Museum, and now he's at, I'm trying to think of the name of the, I'll think of it in a minute. I can't think of the school. He got his master's there.
This next picture is about Heritage Park at the dedication. And I think everybody that I've ever talked to about how Heritage Park got its start here in Oceanside, which is one of the jewels that Oceanside has, they say, "Oh, Bobbie Thill got that started." And that's tell me about how you got interested and how you got started working on Heritage Park. This is back during the bicentennial?
Yes. What happened? I believe. Mayor Richardson appointed me to be chairman of the bicentennial, and
that's Howard Richardson.
Howard Richardson, and so we got together and had a meeting of the people that were involved in it, and Ernie Taylor thought of the idea, and it seemed to appeal to all of us because we wanted to leave a lasting memorial, not just to have a big celebration for 4 years. That we started in 1972.
So when Mayor Richardson appointed you, you really didn't have any particular idea in mind to say,
no,
we're going to do something for the bicentennial.
No. We got together at the chamber offices and selected officers. Randy Mitchell was appointed our vice president, and so then we thought, well, what can we do for a project that would be lasting? And Ernie had thought about that area.
He was a city manager at the time, right?
And so we all decided, well, that would be great, but it was a huge project. I can't believe all the clubs in Oceanside got involved, and all of the people that we could even possibly get involved.
How did you get everybody on board the bandwagon?
Well, it wasn't hard because everybody was feeling very patriotic at that time, and the town cared for itself, and I think it was just a matter of concentrating on something. And when we decided to do it, I think it was just something that everybody felt strongly about. We had lots of other things going on at that time, but when we met out at the place, John Steiger was a tremendous help, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but we were able to move the old Blade building out, and the different clubs sponsored each one of the things that we brought into the park.
Now that old that land that it's located on right now, it's next to the old Episcopal Church. Is
correct, and that's how we were so fortunate to get. I was trying. Well, we tried to get our neighbors involved, and I was think
that would have been the mission and the
Episcopal Church.
Were any of the Blade building was the first one you moved out there?
I believe it was. I'm trying to think. A lot of them we put new fronts on, some of the existing buildings.
That land was an old junkyard, I understand.
It was a county storage place, repair place.
Uh-huh.
And Edith Swain was one of our great finds because she was running the Episcopal Church, so that was really wonderful. And so she's kept it alive through all these years.
I know her family, a lot of her ancestors are buried there in that old cemetery.
It's been great. But people, I think one of the funniest things that ever happened was that we ended our whole celebration with, we decided to have a great big party, so we ended it with, somebody thought up the name of the Cannonball, and so we had a huge dance, and I think it cost, at the NCO Club, Camp Pendleton, I think it cost $6 for drinks and everything. So we had everything. So it was a tremendous celebration.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that was dedicated in time. Like I say, you worked
76.
on it. You worked on it 4 years. We had like
3,000 people, I think, out there at the dedication, which was pretty darn good.
Flipping through, we're running out of time here. This next picture is the cover of the Oceanside Carlsbad Telephone Directory, 1975 edition, and that's you in the carriage with whom?
Dr. Don Brusk. He's a veterinarian.
That's it's a fabulous picture.
Isn't it?
Did you get one that was suitable for framing for yourself?
Well, I just had the old directory, and so I just cut it off. Yeah.
Here we've got pictures of. What are these pictures here?
This Women of Merit.
Oh, that's right. You were selected one of North County Times Women of Merit. What, last year?
It was, yes. It was in October, and I was.
And what did you get that for?
Well, for working for the library and for the Museum of Art in Oceanside and for the Bicentennial, and
I know the library's always been one of your favorite places to assist and help. The Museum of Art is one of your crowning achievements as well. I mean, there was a lot of people who was involved. But tell me about how you got involved in that.
Because I just felt that it was such a worthy cause. It would do so much, I think, for Oceanside, and it has. Randy Mitchell and Bob and Estelle Gleason and the people that were involved. And like Jack said, why are you doing this? And I said, because I've met so many interesting people that I really would never meet otherwise. And it was a wonderful project.
Speaking to the museum, there's a picture of you and Jack standing there in front of an exhibit at the museum.
Yes.
And this next picture is, of course, Dave Rorick, of whom we've interviewed on this show, and you and Jack, and we got George Slater and Art Heinemann, who got the first ball started for the fundraiser, the La Nuit des Beaux Arts that we have every summer. They practically threw the first two all by themselves.
They did throw it all by themselves.
And this was in that first two were held in Dave Rorick's
well,
backyard.
The first one was at George and Art's, and they underwrote the whole thing. And then the second one, I was lucky enough to talk Dave Rorick. And
well, it was a wonderful place.
It was terrific.
We had a great time.
And so, anyway, George and I were co-chairman of those events for 4 years.
And here we have a picture of you and Jose Aponte, who was director of the library at that time and who's now moved on to being deputy city manager. He's on the left, and that's one of your old students,
yes.
Larry Hatter, on the right. Now, this next picture, tell me about the fish. That's got to be one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. You and Jack went to Alaska on a fishing trip, and of course you were just there to indulge him.
No, I love to fish.
Oh, you love to fish? Oh, okay.
I like to surf fish.
Well, now to hear him tell it, he's the fisherman.
He is actually.
I can see by the picture that he's the Yeah, he's the fisherman. Now, he got the 5-pounder, and what kind of fish is that?
Well, we had gone originally salmon fishing, and I wanted to get a great big halibut.
Just for the halibut?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I'd make the record book. And so anyway, I caught that. And then the guide took our picture, and Jack just picked up a little fish. He didn't catch that. He just caught. Anyway, the guide thought it would be a funny joke. So then we sent it out as our Christmas card, his and hers in Homer, Alaska.
Well, now how many meals did that 165-pounder?
Well, we came home with the salmon and the halibut, 200 pounds of fillets, which we were.
Funny, my invitation to dinner must have gotten lost in the mail. But
well, you're next if we ever get another one.
So what kind of projects are you working on now?
I am now the membership chairman as of last week for the Museum of Art, and so I'm going to warn everybody that I'm going to try to enlist their help and
put the arm on it.
Yes, I am.
How are their? I know I've written in the column about some of the trips that they're planning. What are they going to be able to go to Cuba?
Yes, the Cuba trip is on, and they've got it. More people want to go than they have room for, and so
is that right?
Yes, It's going to be exciting.
Well, it's kind of exotic, and I know
Judy LaBounty has chaired that.
She's putting it together. What about the European trip?
The European trip had to be canceled because I think a lot of people are still apprehensive about.
They'll go to Cuba, but they don't.
Yeah, I know.
No, that doesn't make sense at all.
You never know about people.
Okay, well, this is your time to do a little spiel. How much does it cost to join the OMA? The Oceanside Museum of Art.
We have various and sundry things, and I think the best one for a couple is about $40, but it's cheaper for one person.
A whole $40?
Yeah,
and that's a year?
Yeah. And then we are looking for, I'm looking for an assistant to help raise corporate money because we have a big expansion coming with our museum.
But the membership is really kind of neat because you get, first you can go to the museum anytime you want.
Yes, and it so happens that next Friday we're having a reception for this wonderful show.
This won't be on until next month, so
shoot.
That's as I told you, that commercial is not going to fly. But getting members into the OMA, I know, is important, and the phone number is 721-2787. Is that
correct? You're really great, Tom.
If people want to, well, I've written it enough times.
Yeah, I know, and thank you because you are a great supporter. We really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you coming by and visiting with us today, and I think people have learned a little bit more about Bobbie Thill and all the many things that she's done over the years for Oceanside. We appreciate you taking the time to watch the show. I'm Tom Morrow, your host, and we'll see you next time on Living Legacies. This program is made possible through the generous underwriting grants of Hatter Williams and Purdy Insurance Services of Oceanside, providing North County with complete insurance needs for more than half a century. The TriQuest Corporation, providing quality office and manufacturing space in Oceanside. And the North County Times, serving all of North County with complete local daily news coverage and internet services.